Our next guest became the editor of Geist, Canada's preeminent literary magazine, when she was only 24. She was immersed in the value and the pleasures of excellence in writing and wanted to share this with young people who may not have had the opportunities she had. She looked at other models around the world and then developed the Writers' Exchange that today mobilizes 250 volunteers who get young people excited about literature. Please welcome Sarah Maitland.
Hi. When Lynn and Sam said that I could come here tonight and talk about anything I was passionate about, I thought to myself, finally, someone's giving me the opportunity to stand in front of a giant group of people and talk about my cat, Cito. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So Cito was named after Cito Gaston, who was the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays during the 92-93 back-to-back World Series championship. Thanks. This is one of my other passions, combining pictures of Cito with celebrities. And so I grew up just outside Toronto watching the Jays. I absolutely love Cito Gaston. I thought he was like the nicest, coolest, most gentle man. And I just thought, what better way, what better tribute to my childhood hero, Cito Gaston, than to name my cat, Cito Catston. But the thing about Cito Catston is that he's not anything like Cito Gaston. In fact, Cito Catston is evil. Totally evil. Most of his evil deeds happen in the dead of night. He frequently will bite me in the head or face while I'm sleeping, and I'll wake up and there'll be like blood dripping down my face. One time my landlord was coming over really early in the morning to show my apartment, and Cito had somehow unplugged my freezer in the night, and there was just water everywhere all across the floor. And here's a treasured memory of ours. Here's one time Cito brought a giant piece of glass into my bed, and I woke up the next morning by rolling over onto this big shard of glass, and he clearly showed no remorse for this crime. But Cito, I'm glad you guys like these pictures. Cito, it's not his fault totally that he's evil. He had a rough cat childhood. He grew up in a trailer with 9 other animals and 3 other people. It was crazy. The reason why his eyes are actually blue here is he had so many fleas that they were drinking all of his blood, and he didn't have enough iron in his body to make his eyes yellow. And Cito, so he was living in this trailer with all these animals, and the reason I fell in love with Cito specifically out of all the kittens there is that he was fighting this giant Rottweiler, and he was winning the fight, and I was like, that's the cat for me. And now I'm surprised that he likes to fight instead of cuddle. Totally my fault. But people hear my horrible Cito stories, they see bruises on my arms from him biting me, and they say, this is a horrible cat. You should get rid of this cat, especially with a baby on the way. You should not have this cat anywhere near you. But I can't just give up on Cito. First of all, no one would take him. And second of all, I'm not the type of person who just gives up on things or people or evil cats. And this is where Cito actually ties in with my other passion, which is literacy, making literacy really exciting for kids who might not find literacy so exciting. So at the Writers' Exchange, I work with a population of giver-uppers, not the awesome staff or volunteers or our supporters, but the kids. Kids are notorious giver-uppers. If they find it hard to tie their shoe, they call for an adult to do it for them. If they can't read one word in a book, they're done with that book. If they can't think of an idea for a story to write, put down the pencil, walk away, they are done for the day. Especially if they don't have an awesome adult in their life who can encourage them to keep going. And we work with kids who attend the designated inner city schools here in Vancouver, but it's really all kids that are like this, especially if they don't have those people in their lives. So at the Writers' Exchange, we have an amazing crew, as Sam said, of volunteer mentors who work one-on-one or in small groups with the kids so that they don't give up on reading and writing projects that we do. So I'd love to just share a little story about the mentoring in action because it just happened really recently, and also because it involves cats, so I can keep talking about cats, which I'm really excited about. So Writers Exchange, we run amazing, super fun literacy programs after school, during school break time, so we're just about to run a summer program. And we also get invited into teachers' classrooms to run publishing projects with their classes. So we recently got invited into a grade 1 class. And at the beginning of all of our projects, we do a little survey of the kids, which looks something like this. And we gauge how much they like reading and writing before the project, and also at the end. And hopefully they've increased their enjoyment of literacy over the course of the project. So I'm working with this little grade 1 girl, totally adorable, and I read the first question to her. I think my reading skills are great, good, okay, bad. And I ask her to circle the corresponding Garfield. And she circles bad. And this makes me a little sad, a little surprised, for 2 reasons. Number 1, I've only got 4 weeks to take this girl from the grumpy end of the spectrum to the excited end of the spectrum. And that's not a long time. Number 2, it's actually normally the older kids that feel bad about their reading skills before we go in. So the older kids actually look like these Garfields. They're like, no, reading and writing, not cool, totally no, not into it. And by the end of the project, they're like, reading and writing so fun, when can we do it again? And we're like, anytime, you can literally do it anytime. So I'm working with this really adorable girl. She thinks her reading skills are bad. And as we go on to the next question, she pulls the paper a little towards herself, and she reads it. I think my writing skills are great, good, okay, bad, and circles bad. And I was like, hold on a second. You just told me that your reading skills were bad, and now you are reading that to me like a total pro. You did that all on your own. You were really awesome at it. And she looks at me, she's like, okay. And she goes back to the question above, crosses off that she thinks her reading skills are bad, and she circles, okay. I'm like, all right. Cool. So we put the paper away. We move on with the activity of the day. We're brainstorming words. We're writing words. We're drawing pictures. We're having a great time. We spell the word balloon, and it takes us almost 10 minutes to get this word out. We're going real slow, letter by letter. But she's got the stick on the right side of the B. She's doing it. She spells balloon all on her own. It was amazing. And then she grabs for the paper, and I totally forgot we did the survey. She grabs it, pulls it over, and under I think my writing skills are, she crosses off bad, and she circles okay. And this is not our hugest success story by far, but this is one little moment, and this is just a little sliver in what we do for these kids. Working with this one kid for an hour, she had already increased how much she likes reading and writing. So I'm really excited at the end of the project to see what she thinks when her work is published in a professionally designed and printed publication that she gets to take home, share with her family. We're going to have a big launch party. She'll read it in front of her friends and family. So I'm really excited to see how she scores. And spoiler alert, they always do say that they like reading and writing more at the end of the project. Before I move on to my final slide, I just want to thank my co-project director, Jennifer McLeod, for taking this photo, because she never gets any photo credit for anything she ever does, and she's also an amazing person. So thank you, Jennifer. So this is my final thought. Cito, as I said, bites me in the head while I'm sleeping, but sometimes he gives me a little bit of warning that he's about to attack. His ears are back, his whole body is tense. He's making this like weird growling sound that he seems to only reserve for me and wasps that he's about to kill and play with. It's really terrible. So when he looks like this, working with the kids has taught me this. When he looks like this, I can do 2 things. Number 1, I can point the hairdryer at him and he runs away. I don't know why, it's amazing. But number 2, the kids have taught me this. When Cito is super angry, I can reach into his vortex of evil and draw him towards me. And I tell Cito he's a good cat. He's a lovely cat. He's the best cat. And all of a sudden his body will go from being super tense and angry to relaxed and calm. And he starts purring, and he starts being the good cat that I tell him he is. And this is true with the kids too. If you tell them they're good kids, they're smart kids, that they can accomplish anything, that they can be anything, soon they stop giving up on things. They stop giving up on themselves. They become those good kids that we say they are. They start believing in themselves, and then they really can accomplish anything. Thank you.